sketch. So this is a Goosebumps or Goonies-style kids' fantasy adventure, written and directed by Seth Worley, feature first timer, expanded apparently from a proof of concept short called Darker Colours, which I confess I hadn't seen. Co-produced by Tony Hale, who stars as the widowed father of two kids, Jack, who is a gamer, and Amber, who is an artist. Both kids are dealing with the loss of their mum. Amber is channeling her grief into these drawings, which are filled with monsters and violence and blood and dismemberment. And when her notebook is chanced upon by school, they find a picture of a boy being cut in half by a monster, and they're appalled, although somebody, an adult, thinks that perhaps drawing these pictures isn't entirely bad. Here's a clip.
I think drawing this was a much healthier choice than pulling out his eyeballs. What do you say? You know what you could have done that would have been a lot worse?
If I took a machete and...
I'll show you. Right here. What do you see? Nothing. You could have let that anger sit inside of you, growing bigger, stronger, and scarier, but you didn't. You put it right here, where it can't hurt anyone.
There's a lovely thing there, which says, you could have done something much worse. And she says, yeah, like pulling out. No.
Yeah, she's off on the dismemberment again.
So anyway, meanwhile, her brother has discovered a pond near the house that their father is trying to sell now, that seems to have magical fixing powers. It's got a broken phone, and the phone falls in the pond, and then it's not broken anymore. And there's a plate that's broken, and it fixes the plate. So it's doing something magical. So what would happen if all these incredibly monstrous drawings that his sister is doing somehow came into contact with this magic? And that's kind of the setup of what happens in the film. So Tony Hale has described it as a cross between Jurassic Park and Inside Out. And certainly there are a lot of nods to the former, and there's lots of Spielbergian shots of people looking up. You know that thing that Spielberg does, those brilliant shots of people looking up in astonishment that you always get in Jurassic Park. And also, like Inside Out, there's a really sort of nice concentration on the idea of it's a film talking to young people about why it is that apparently negative emotions like fear or sadness, in the case of Inside Out, they may actually be positive. And you heard that in that clip. You know, you've put this in a drawing, that may actually be a good thing. I mean, there are a lot of cinematic nods in the film. There's a very obvious quote nod to Psycho with the shower curtain. It's clearly been made with the intention of playing to an audience across the board. So it's not just playing to a young audience; it's playing to grown-ups as well, which is obviously the case with Inside Out. I mean, the dialogue between the father and his sister, who is the estate agent trying to sell the house, is very droll. It's very sort of funny, very, very dry. As for the effects, I looked this up, and according to the wiki page, the film cost $3 million. Which is astonishing because, right. I mean, I know technology's moved on and everything, but it doesn't look like it's made for $3 million. It looks like it's made for $30 million. You get a lot of thrill ride bangs for your buck as the adventure kind of romps from one lively set piece to the next. The BBFC rating is 12A for moderate horror, violence. The violence category in the BBFC rating says, and I love this, scenes in which a creature attempts to swallow a child, a man bludgeons a hooded creature, a creature's limb is hacked off, and a girl tears a creature in half. And then they add all in a fantastical context. But the thing that's important is, for all that sort of whiz-bang drawings come to life stuff, what the film is about is, it is about, you know, grief and loss and sadness. And it's about the way in which negative emotions can be channeled to, you know, positive ends. It's about taking those things, taking anger, you know, anger is an energy, all that stuff. It's about taking them and turning them into something positive. So I thought it was really moving and really entertaining, and I knew nothing about it. And I will confess that I only found out about it because you alerted me to it, because you have met the filmmaker.
No, and one of the producers, Steve Taylor, we've known for a long time. He lives in Nashville. And so he's been a family friend for a long time, and he said he got involved with this film. In fact, the way you were describing it there kind of ties it into Springsteen, in as much as negative feelings turning into important art. You know, I know they're very different films, and I'd have thought PG would have been more appropriate than a 12 hours. Slightly surprising.
Well, I mean, some of the stuff in it is pretty, you know, I mean.
Okay, well, maybe that's right. Anyway, I think it's hugely charming, and I think the central performances are wonderful.
Yeah,
I think
great,
it's
aren't they?
beautifully done, and I just want more people to go and see it because it's sort of it goes into different areas, and the performances are terrific.
It's got that thing that all the best of these have, is that, you know, we were talking before about Gabby's Dollhouse. Well, that is playing very specifically to a certain audience, and, you know, parents aren't going to get much out of it other than you're going to get, you know, Kristen Wiig doing that stuff. In the case of this, it is playing across a much broader field because it is dealing with something that everybody kind of comes to understand, which is that those things, sadness, loss, you know, anger, all those things need to be channeled into a positive energy. I suppose get all David Lynchy on it, and I think it does have that. And I also think it's and there are things in it that are really creepy. I mean, the gribbly eyeballs, the crawling eyeball spiders, I thought were really creepy.
So it's well worth looking out. You might not have heard about it anywhere else, but we're on top of it. So look out for Sketch because it's decent family fare, very good. I hugely enjoyed it, but I am compromised because, as Mark correctly says, we know one of the producers very well.
Well, I don't know him. I don't know the producer. I mean, I literally I don't have any contact with them at all, so I don't know them. But I really like the film.
You can trust Mark always. Don't forget all the fun and games you can find at patreon.com/Kermode and Mayo as the church builds its extension.